Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I want to talk about Mad Max Fury Road. And this was a movie that I really struggled for some time after watching it to figure out a way to go about talking about it, because it's a movie that's much more of an experience than anything you'll ever see. There's nothing else like it. It's a movie to be experienced much in a different fashion than just going to the theater and watching a movie to be entertained. This movie gets inside your brain and fundamentally changes your perceptions. I don't care what you want to say about it, good, bad, in between. However you react to this movie, you're left fundamentally changed, and for better or worse, you may want to talk about it, whether you liked it or not, whether you loved it or not. And I'm hearing across the board people are loving this film, and it's easy to see why I'm one of those people. It primarily stars, of course, Tom Hardy as Mad Max, air quotes, Charlize Theron as Furiosa, and is just absolutely awesome-tacular from beginning to end. It's like a non-stop locomotive train, of action. And that isn't to say there aren't down moments and more character-driven moments. There certainly are, but I mean, it's absolutely balls to the wall. That's the thing that stands out the most about this. You're seeing things on screen that you either haven't seen for a very long time in movies or you've never seen before. And it pushes that gamut of just being like mind warping as far as I'm concerned. And so it's intriguing, how this sort of plot is laid out, where you are picking up with a Mad Max, kind of character. And there is some speculation, fan theories and conspiracies, more on that in a little bit, where this might not be the original Max, the Mel Gibson Max, but his sort of journey, he's been spending a lot of time on his own, traveling the wastelands as a nomad. He's lost sort of this power of speech because he's been away from humankind for so long, arguably, and he's very sort of feral in his attitude and the way he carries himself, very possessive of his own belongings and wanting them returned to him. Somebody steals his car, the V8, and he wants it back and stuff like that. But he is kidnapped effectively by the villain of the piece is Immortan Joe. He's the sort of godlike, benefactor leader of an area called the Citadel. This is one of the rare places in this, futuristic dystopian waste that still has greenery, still has plant life, and still has water. And he, gives out the water to the enslaved and the impoverished as he sees fit, and he schools people into, not becoming obsessed with the water, not ruining their lives by it, and whatever like that. He toys with the impoverished. He also has amassed an entire army of war boys, air quotes, these cats who, I guess they shave their entire bodies. They have, like, white powder all over them and everything. And it's these people who we hear in the voiceover at the start of the film, Max is saying, they're coming back. He's had a run-in with these people before, is the sort of gist you get from it. And they capture him and they make him a blood bag, air quotes, which is, he has sort of universally usable blood for transfusions and such like that. He's sidled up with a character, I think the character's name is Nux, I can't remember exactly, but he's like one of the chief war boys we follow, and just all hell breaks loose, and Max is driven along this journey, pulled along with it, as Charlize Theron's character Furiosa, who's the Imperator under Immortan Joe. She's meant to be going out to get like gasoline or something like that to replenish it, and we find that she actually has an ulterior motive. She ends up sort of sidelining somewhere else, going in another direction, and it's because she's carrying in this giant tanker truck the wives, or the sort of breeders, air quotes, these, this group of like 5 or 6 women who Joe has cast on the side to just, keep his seed going and keep the war boys, manifesting and so forth. And she wants to try to break them away. She has memories of this place from her youth called the Green Place, which is somewhere that was much more prosperous. It was led by a lot of empowered women, and it's her sort of chasing that dream and trying to save this group of women who have been taken as enslaved wives. And so Max gets to a point where he breaks free of being sort of controlled and captive, and his path intertwines with Furiosa's. They are antagonistic when they first meet, but then they end up working toward the similar cause of trying to get away from Immortan Joe and his clan and all this kind of stuff. There's going to be a ruse with this motorcycle gang in the mountains where they're basically trying to get passage through there because they think they're going to the green place. And you don't always end up, when you're chasing down your dreams, you don't always end up getting to the fruition without finding out things aren't the way you remember. Put it that way. I won't spoil how the story plays out. Suffice to say, though, Max and Furiosa make a very empowered team, and they're freaking awesome, And from beginning to end, I mean, the entire movie is just awesome as all hell. What I thought was interesting, too, was I had completely been unaware of the fact that the cat who plays the villain, Immortan Joe, he's the original actor going back to the very first Mad Max who played Toe Cutter, the villain in that piece. And depending on where you go online, you may hear that, George Miller, the creator of the Mad Max universe and the director of this film and all of them, doesn't really like that first movie. It's not one of his best, I guess, and he doesn't reflect too kindly on it. But I love that he's the type of guy who he'll carry actors he works well with and appreciates through movies. If you look at some of those, earlier Mad Max films, they do feature some of the same actors in different capacities, such like that. Arguably so. I mean, there are a couple characters that stand out between the films where I guess there's always been long-time fan speculation. Are they playing the same characters or not? And this, that, and the other thing. That's kind of playing into this, fan conspiracy, air quotes, theory going into Fury Road that I absolutely was wowed by. I didn't think I could be any more excited and just mind-altered by Fury Road as it stood by itself. But then you come up with this theory where people are talking about there are so many little Easter eggs in Fury Road that seem to suggest, and also things cherry-picked out of interviews, both pre-production-wise and things that have been said after the fact by the actors, by Miller himself. But all these Easter eggs seem to suggest that the Max we're following in this film isn't the original Mel Gibson Mad Max. From his character to the way he is very feral, as I said, there's speculation that he might be the adult feral kid from The Road Warrior, I believe it is. It kind of left me head scratching at first, like, where would they come up with this? But then when you actually listen to the entirety of the theory and all these different bullet points, and it absolutely makes sense. And it kind of, Miller's the kind of guy, he would never come out and admit this if he had put this all into motion, that detailed. I mean, it's very possible that Fury Road is sort of a reboot and a reimagining of the Mad Max universe. And, we had a Max with very intriguing flashbacks and sort of post-traumatic stress visions of like a little girl, very ghostly and everything. Maybe this is a reworking of his original vision, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's actually a continuation of that original vision, and this is the feral kid grown up. He's, coming into his own. He's actually becoming able to speak and be articulate. As somebody pointed out in a video talking about the conspiracy theory, the narrator of The Road Warrior is the adult feral kid. He becomes very erudite and very articulate, and something mind-blowing, because when you see this little sort of animal Bam Bam kid in that movie, you don't expect that to be his future. So it's very intriguing, the idea that this could be the adult feral kid living out very similar a life to his hero and wanting to try to be as close to his hero that he met in youth, the original Mad Max, so far as to even taking on that mantle, the idea of him taking on the name Max Rockatansky. And I find that to be absolutely mind-blowing with just everything else in the movie. The movie stands on its own as just being balls to the wall. But then you add that this sort of loose sense of continuity and perchance a loose, I guess, master plan on the part of George Miller, if that is in fact the case. And it's that much grander in scope because that opens the possibilities for the future. There's an image, I guess it was the premiere of this film, where Tom Hardy has, he's standing right next to Mel Gibson. Gibson is all smiles. Hardy's, got his sort of ominous grim look on his face. But seeing them together, it it brings flashes of like, could there be a future movie where we see a genuine old man Max Rockatansky, kind of like what they were going for, because I guess the time period between the Road Warrior and Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, it's supposed to be like 45 years later, and so you're supposed to be like kind of like old man Wolverine. You're looking at a Max who's very much old, aged, sort of, he's not youthful anymore, and this is why he's not running around. It's kind of like, as someone else pointed out, a grandfather story. That's why there's all those kids and everything like that. And the idea that this character might have, sort of made a young feral kid aspire to be something more and try to find his place in the world, all those kinds of things. I mean, I'm spending probably more time talking about this theory than the movie itself, but it just adds that much more depth to it if this plays out to be true. Getting back to Fury Road, like I say, the cast was just brilliant all the way around. I mean, even supporting characters like the wives, Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, I believe is her name. This was a model turned actress, and this isn't, I wouldn't say her performance was stellar, but it was definitely, she brought something to the film. Zoe Kravitz, big time fan of, even crushing on a little bit. She's in the piece, and you have a couple other actresses, and like I say, when they find, or maybe don't find, I don't want to say one way or the other, but when they, sort of get to that point where the green place becomes realized, put it that way, you have a whole cast of these more elderly women who are just badass, and I love the idea of having a film like this where, both male and female, everyone is equal and everyone is as hardcore and badass as they can be, and there's no sexism, there's no picking sides, picking genders. Everyone's in this world trying to survive and chasing their dreams and everything like that. And I like the way when Max, air quotes, comes back out of his shell in a sense, or finds himself, he is at a crossroads that matches the crossroads that Furiosa and the surviving, because there is some death in this movie, the surviving wives are at. And it takes them both, once again, sort of, if you will, renewing the vows of friendship and working together, teamwork, to find an answer as to how to, move on in this world in as prosperous a light as possible. And there's just a shite ton of action all the way through from beginning to end to get from point A to point B and back again, put it that way. Even down to, everyone is talking about that guitarist. He's, like this metal guitarist, and it's him who's fueling the vehicle by strumming his guitar. It goes faster, 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 and everything like that. Just such creative, a vision this world, the vehicles, the framework of how the people and the communities function, and trying to break away from that, and what kind of dream aesthetics they are chasing down. What an experience. And, it's like, I got to see this at least 100 more times before I'll be satisfied, if I ever am satisfied. Like, I can't watch this movie enough, put it that way. And so yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. This long rambling video talking about Mad Max Fury Road, but at the end of the day, if you've seen it, what did you think of it? And were you as blown away? Do you recognize it as just something the likes of which you've not seen in your life before, or something very reminiscent of things you like from back in the day, like 70s, 80s filmography and such? Or if in the rare minority instance, did you not happen to like the film? Did it not work for you? Anything goes in the comments below. Always love having the conversation with you guys, and that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Just really wanted to talk about this film a little bit more at length, and how wowed I was by the end of it. And that's the thing I keep coming back to. Just freaking wow. And so yeah, otherwise I hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you later. Peace.